In a world obsessed with productivity, schedules, calendars, planners, and endless to-do lists, many people feel more overwhelmed than ever. We wake up tired, rush through our days, and go to bed wondering where all the time went. Despite all the tools and techniques promising better time management, we still struggle to create meaningful work, think deeply, and live intentionally. This is the problem that mind management, not time management, confronts head-on. Rather than asking how we can squeeze more tasks into our days, this book asks a far more powerful question. What if the real problem isn't time, but the way we manage our minds? In this audiobook summary, we will explore the ideas of mind management, not time management, written by David Kadavy, a book that challenges conventional productivity wisdom and offers a radically different approach to doing your best creative and intellectual work. This is not a book about hustling harder. It is not about working longer hours. It is not about cramming your calendar full. It is a book about working with your brain instead of against it. About the author, David Kadavy. David Kadavy is a writer, creative thinker, and productivity expert best known for his work on creativity, focus, and mental performance. Before writing Mind Management, Not Time Management, Kadavy spent years experimenting with productivity systems, creative workflows, and cognitive habits. Like many high performers, he initially believed the key to success was mastering time, tracking every minute, optimizing schedules, and maximizing output. Yet, despite all his discipline, something was missing. He noticed that some of his most meaningful work happened not when he followed strict schedules, but when his mind was in the right state. Ideas flowed more naturally. Writing felt effortless. Decisions became clearer. This realization led him to a deeper investigation into how the mind actually works, especially when it comes to creativity, problem solving, and focus. Drawing from neuroscience, psychology, personal experience, and historical examples of great thinkers, Kadavy developed a new philosophy. Your mind is the real bottleneck, not time. The core idea of the book. The central argument of mind management, not time management, is simple but powerful. Time is fixed. Your mental energy is not, because everyone has the same 24 hours, but not everyone has the same quality of thinking during those hours. Kadavy argues that productivity is not about managing hours. It is about managing attention, energy, creativity, and cognitive states. You can sit at your desk for 8 hours and accomplish very little. Or you can spend one focused hour in the right mental state and produce extraordinary results. The difference is mind management. WHY time management fails. Traditional time management systems assume that all hours are equal. You can force yourself to work through willpower. Productivity is about discipline and control. But in reality, your brain has natural rhythms. Mental energy fluctuates throughout the day. Creativity cannot be forced on demand. Kadavy explains that when we ignore these realities, we burn out, procrastinate, and feel constantly behind, no matter how well we plan our time. Time management focuses on external structure. Mind management focuses on internal alignment. Creative mind v. Edom. One of the book's most important distinctions is between two modes of thinking: the creative mind, the manager mind. The creative mind, the manager mind. The creative mind generates ideas, solves problems, and makes connections. The manager mind organizes, schedules, evaluates, and executes. Most productivity systems force us to use the manager mind all day long, leaving little room for creativity. Kadavy argues that this is backwards. You should protect your creative mind, not suffocate it with constant planning, emails, notifications, and meetings. Great work comes when you separate these modes and allow each to operate at the right time. Mental states matter more than clock time. Kadavy introduces the idea that different tasks require different mental states, not just different blocks of time. For example, writing requires openness and curiosity. Editing requires focus and critical thinking. Planning requires logic and evaluation. Rest requires complete disengagement. Trying to do creative work in the wrong mental state leads to frustration and self-doubt. Many people think they are lazy or undisciplined, when in reality, they are simply misaligned mentally. Mind management teaches you to recognize when your mind is best for deep work, when it is best for administrative tasks, when it needs rest. The MYFLM constant productivity. A major theme of the book is the rejection of constant productivity. Kadavy explains that the brain works in cycles, periods of intense focus followed by periods of rest. Ignoring this natural rhythm leads to diminishing returns. Some of history's greatest thinkers, including writers, scientists, and philosophers, worked in short bursts of deep focus, not endless hours. True productivity is not about doing more, it's about doing what matters most, at the right time, with the right mindset. From CLOCKWATCHING to cognitive awareness. Instead of obsessing over schedules, Kadavy encourages readers to develop cognitive awareness, the ability to notice energy levels, mental clarity, emotional state, creative readiness. This awareness allows you to design your workday around how your mind actually functions, not how you think it should function. The cost of distraction. One of the most damaging forces to the modern mind is distraction. Notifications, emails, social media, breaking news, and constant digital noise fragment attention into tiny, unusable pieces. David Kadavy explains that distraction does more than waste time. It destroys cognitive depth. Every interruption forces your brain to reset. Even a quick glance at your phone can derail a thought process that took minutes to build. When you return to your task, you are not resuming where you left off. You are starting over. This is why many people feel busy all day but accomplish very little. Their time is full, but their mind is scattered. Mind management requires defending attention as your most valuable asset. Attention is a finite resource. Unlike time, attention cannot be replenished instantly. Each decision, each notification, each switch between tasks drains mental energy. Kadavy emphasizes that multitasking is not a productivity skill, it is a performance killer. The brain does not truly multitask, it rapidly switches contexts, burning energy with every switch. The solution is not stronger willpower. The solution is environmental design. Remove distractions before they demand attention. Structure your surroundings so focus becomes the default. Boredom. The hidden superpower. Modern culture treats boredom as something to avoid at all costs. But boredom is where creativity is born. Kadavy explains that when the mind is idle, it begins to wander. This wandering is not laziness, it is incubation. It is during boredom that the brain connects ideas, solves problems subconsciously, and generates insight. Some of your best ideas will not appear while staring at a screen. They will come while walking, showering, resting, or doing nothing. Mind management means allowing space for boredom instead of filling every moment with stimulation. The power of walking. Walking plays a recurring role in the book. Kadavy highlights walking as one of the most effective tools for thinking. When you walk, blood flow increases, stress hormones decrease, creativity improves, thoughts organize naturally. Many great thinkers used walking as a thinking tool, not a break from thinking. Walking is not wasted time. It is productive mental processing. WHY, willpower is overrated. Traditional productivity advice often relies on willpower, just push through. But willpower is unreliable and exhaustible. Kadavy argues that systems beat willpower every time. Instead of forcing yourself to focus, design your day around high energy periods. Remove friction from important tasks. Reduce decisions that drain mental resources. When your environment supports focus, discipline becomes almost unnecessary. NRG first, tasks second. Most people plan their day by listing tasks and assigning times. Mind management flips this approach. First, identify your energy patterns. When are you mentally sharp? When are you sluggish? When do ideas flow most naturally? Then match tasks to those states. Creative work goes where energy is highest. Administrative work goes where energy is lower. Rest goes where recovery is needed. This alignment dramatically increases output without increasing hours. The creative incubation process. Kadavy describes creativity as a multi-stage process. Input, gathering information and ideas. Incubation, letting ideas sit subconsciously. Insight, the aha moment. Execution, turning ideas into output. Most people rush from input to execution, skipping incubation entirely. Mind management honors all four stages. If you feel stuck, the problem may not be lack of effort. It may be lack of incubation. Why? Forcing creativity fails. Creativity resists pressure. When you demand ideas on a strict schedule, the brain often shuts down. Kadavy encourages creating conditions for creativity rather than commands. This includes regular rest, solitude, reduced input, physical movement, mental play. Creativity thrives in freedom, not force. Rest is part of the work. Rest is not a reward for productivity. Rest is a requirement for productivity. The brain consolidates learning and insight during rest. Without rest, thinking becomes shallow and repetitive. Mind management treats rest as a strategic tool, not an indulgence. The role of solitude. Solitude allows the mind to hear itself. Without constant input from others, your thoughts become clearer and more original. Kadavy stresses that solitude does not mean isolation. It means intentional time alone with your thoughts. This is where clarity emerges. Creating a mindfrIendly schedule. Rather than rigid schedules, the book recommends flexible frameworks that adapt to mental states. Key principles include fewer priorities, larger blocks of uninterrupted time, clear boundaries between work and rest, regular reflection. The goal is not to control every minute, but to support mental excellence. Entering deep work and cognitive flow. At the heart of meaningful productivity lies a state many people chase but few truly understand: deep work. This is the mental condition where focus becomes effortless, distractions fade away, and the mind fully immerses itself in a single task. David Kadavy explains that deep work is not something you force. It is something you allow by managing your mind correctly. Flow emerges when the task is challenging but achievable. Attention is uninterrupted. Goals are clear. Feedback is immediate. When these conditions align, time seems to disappear and output quality dramatically improves. WHY, most people never reach flow. Many people believe they are incapable of deep focus. In reality, their environment constantly sabotages them. Open tabs, incoming messages, background noise, mental clutter. Kadavy emphasizes that flow requires protection, not motivation. You must guard your attention the way a craftsman guards their tools. Deep work does not coexist with constant availability. Protecting creative time. One of the most practical lessons in the book is the idea of creative priority windows, specific periods when your mind is naturally suited for deep, creative effort. These windows differ for everyone. Some think best early in the morning. Others peak in the afternoon or late at night. Mind management means discovering these windows and defending them fiercely. No emails, no meetings, no social media. This is where your most valuable work is born. The danger of information overload. Modern life floods the mind with information. News feeds, videos, articles, podcasts. Input never stops. Kadavy warns that excessive input without processing leads to mental noise, shallow thinking, reduced originality, creative paralysis. The mind needs space to digest information. Without space, insight cannot emerge. Consuming less often leads to thinking more clearly. The INPUT balance. Creativity depends on balance. Too little input leads to stagnation. Too much input leads to overload. Mind management involves consciously regulating what you consume and when. Instead of constant scrolling, Kadavy encourages intentional intake followed by reflection. Ideas are not found, they are formed. Stillness creates clarity. Stillness is uncomfortable for many people because it exposes unresolved thoughts. Yet this discomfort is where clarity begins. When external noise fades, internal patterns emerge. Kadavy highlights that many breakthroughs happen not during effort, but during stillness. Moments when the mind is finally allowed to settle. Mental DECLUTTERING. Just as physical clutter distracts the eyes, mental clutter distracts thought. Unfinished tasks, vague goals, and unresolved decisions occupy cognitive space. Mind management involves regularly clearing this mental backlog. Writing things down is not about remembering. It is about freeing the mind to think deeply again. Making decisions when energy is high. Decision-making drains mental energy. Poor decisions often occur when the mind is fatigued. Kadavy recommends making important decisions during high energy periods and reserving low energy periods for routine tasks. This simple shift reduces stress and improves judgment. The role of constraints. Constraints are not creativity killers. They are creativity catalysts. When time, tools, or options are limited, the mind becomes more inventive. Kadavy explains that constraints give the brain boundaries within which to explore. Too much freedom often leads to indecision. Embracing slow thinking. Speed is celebrated in modern culture, but speed often sacrifices depth. Mind management values slow thinking, taking time to explore ideas fully, question assumptions, and refine thoughts. Some ideas need time to mature. Rushing them leads to mediocrity. Building a daily mind practice. Kadavy suggests treating the mind like a muscle that requires regular care. This includes focused work sessions, intentional rest, movement, reflection, solitude. Consistency matters more than intensity. The addiction to busyness. Busyness has become a modern badge of honor. Many people equate being busy with being important, productive, or successful, but busyness is often a form of avoidance. David Kadavy explains that busyness keeps the mind occupied while preventing deeper thinking. When every moment is filled with activity, there is no space for reflection, creativity, or insight. Busyness feels productive, but it rarely produces meaningful results. Mind management requires the courage to do less, but think more. Redefining productivity. Productivity is not about the number of tasks completed. It is about the value of what you produce. Kadavy encourages readers to ask, does this work matter? Does it move me towards something meaningful? Is it aligned with my creative strengths? True productivity creates impact, not exhaustion. Emotional management and creative confidence. Creative work is emotional work. Fear, doubt, perfectionism, and comparison often block progress more than lack of skill. Kadavy emphasizes that managing the mind includes managing emotions. Negative emotions are signals, not enemies. Instead of resisting them, observe them, learn from them, move forward anyway. Confidence grows through consistent engagement, not flawless execution. The danger of perfectionism. Perfectionism masquerades as high standards, but often hides fear of judgment. Mind management teaches acceptance of imperfect output as part of the creative process. Ideas improve through iteration, not hesitation. Finished is better than perfect. Building sustainable creative routines. Rather than rigid habits, Kadavy advocates flexible routines that adapt to mental energy. Sustainable creativity depends on rhythm, not rigidity. Recovery, not burnout. Curiosity, not pressure. The goal is longevity, not short bursts of intensity. Separating identity from output. Many people tie their self-worth to what they produce. When work goes poorly, they feel personally diminished. Kadavy encourages separating identity from output. You are not your work. You are the one doing the work. This separation reduces fear and increases creative freedom. The importance of review and reflection. Mind management includes regular reflection. What worked? What drained energy? What created flow? What caused resistance? Reflection transforms experience into insight, designing a life for thinking. The book ultimately goes beyond productivity. It is about designing a life that supports deep thinking and meaningful creation. This may require saying no more often, protecting solitude, limiting digital noise, choosing depth over speed. A well-managed mind leads to a well-lived life. Living with intentionality, intentional. Living means choosing where attention goes instead of letting it be stolen. Every yes is a no to something else. Mind management helps you choose wisely, from control to cooperation. Rather than controlling the mind through force, Kadavy teaches cooperation, working with natural rhythms instead of fighting them. When the mind is respected, it responds with clarity and creativity. Final core message. Time management asks, how can I do more? Mind management asks, how can I think better? The second question changes everything. The practical shift from theory to daily life. At this point in the book, David Kadavy moves from philosophy into lived experience. The ideas of mind management are not meant to stay abstract. They are meant to reshape how you wake up, how you work, how you rest, and how you think. Mind management begins the moment you stop asking, "What should I do next?" and start asking, "What state is my mind in right now?" This single shift changes everything. The daily MINDMANAGMMANT principles. Kadavy distills his philosophy into principles that can guide everyday decisions. Protect your best mental hours. Do your most meaningful work first. Reduce decisions that drain energy. Create before you consume. Rest without guilt. Think deeply, not constantly. These principles do not demand perfection. They demand awareness. Morning, setting the tone for the mind. How you begin your day shapes your mental state more than any productivity app. Kadavy encourages mornings that prioritize clarity over stimulation. Instead of immediately checking messages or news, he suggests creating space for the mind to wake up naturally. This might include quiet reflection, journaling, walking, light reading, and thinking without input. The goal is not efficiency, but mental alignment, creating before consuming. One of the strongest recommendations in the book is to create before you consume. When you consume first, you fill your mind with other people's priorities, opinions, and emotions. When you create first, you give your own thoughts room to exist. Even a small act of creation, writing, planning, sketching, anchors the mind in intention rather than reaction. Working in seasons, not constant output. Kadavy reminds readers that no one can operate at peak creativity all the time. Life moves in seasons. There are seasons of intense creation, exploration, learning, rest, recovery. Mind management respects these seasons instead of resisting them. Trying to force constant output leads to burnout and resentment. Honoring seasons leads to sustainability. The LONGTERM effect of mind management. Over time, mind management produces profound changes. Clearer thinking, deeper work, stronger intuition, reduced anxiety, increased confidence, more meaningful output. You stop chasing productivity and start trusting your mind. Success redefined. In the book's closing reflections, success is no longer defined by speed, volume, or visibility. Success becomes thinking well, creating meaningful work, living with intention, respecting your mental health, producing work you are proud of. This is a quieter definition of success, but a far more powerful one. Why this philosophy matters now. In an age of constant distraction, shallow thinking, and relentless busyness, mind management is not optional. It is essential. Those who learn to manage their minds will create original ideas, solve complex problems, avoid burnout, lead with clarity. Those who don't will remain busy, overwhelmed, and mentally exhausted. The final lesson: you cannot control time. You cannot slow it down. You cannot create more of it, but you can control how you think. You can protect your attention. You can choose depth over noise. And when you do, time stops being the enemy. Closing reflection, Ending. Imagine a life where your best ideas are not rushed, where your work reflects your deepest thinking, where rest no longer feels like failure, and where productivity feels calm instead of frantic. That is the promise instead of frantic. That is the promise of mind management. Not managing time, but managing the mind that lives within it. ND a full A, U, D, OB, O, K summary.